Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to another episode of News Dose, where I give you all of the latest gaming news. And over the last year we have gotten a lot of remakes, reboots, and just a lot of different franchises returning in general. I mean, if you really think about it, we have gotten games like Resident Evil 3, Half-Life Alyx, and even Final Fantasy VII has come back and returned. Well, if you like these fan-favorite games returning, then I got good news for you because we have another game coming back that Xbox fans in particular should be very excited for. So don't go anywhere and we will talk about that. Plus, Xbox is now calling out Apple for their anti-consumer policies. The question though, is it enough to get Apple to make a change? So stay tuned for that as well, but before we talk about all that, let's go over some of the quick news, starting off with a big game announcement. Yeah, out of nowhere, Warner Bros. Announced a brand new game by Rocksteady, the developers behind Batman Arkham Asylum. Their next game will stay in the same universe, but instead of playing the hero, now you will play the villains in Suicide Squad. This may not be what fans were expecting for Rocksteady's next game, but I have to say, I like it. Rocksteady is a really good developer, and I think that they could do some interesting things with Suicide Squad. Though, that's the thing. We don't exactly have gameplay just yet because they announced this through a simple tweet. That's kind of odd considering how big of an announcement this actually is, but the good news here is that we won't have to wait for too long to find out more, as they will be revealing more at the DC Fandom on August 22nd. And yeah, I do get it, this is a very weird way to announce this game, but I think it is smart because I don't think a lot of gamers would have tuned into this event otherwise. Nonetheless though, we only have 2 weeks before we see Rocksteady's next game, and that's something to be very excited for. Now this next topic is a little strange. So apparently yesterday there was some quote-unquote concern surrounding the Xbox Series X game, The Medium. In my honest opinion, I think that this is one of the more exciting next-generation games for its innovative take on the horror genre, where you can actually travel 2 parallel worlds simultaneously. Yeah, it looks great from a gameplay standpoint, and I think that they could do a lot of cool things with this game. But with that said, fans yesterday discovered that ray tracing may have been cut from the game. This is because on the Xbox page for the Medium, the ray tracing badge was oddly missing. But however, if you looked on the Xbox listings page, it did show ray tracing. So which do you believe? Well, this certainly sparked a debate online, with some fans speculating that the Xbox Series X was being rushed to the market. But fret not, Bloober Team quickly responded confirming that the Medium will in fact have ray tracing. So no worries, the Medium will have those next-gen visuals that we're all looking for. And speaking of visuals, Horizon Zero Dawn just released on PC, and this is one of the most exciting games to release all year. I mean, this is a PlayStation first-party game coming to PC, which still is crazy to think about. Well, the problem is that it doesn't exactly sound like Sony did a good job at porting this game to PC. In fact, Digital Foundry is reporting all kinds of technical issues, including both visuals and bugs. Yeah, some of these are pretty weird as well. As an example, all animations is locked to 30 frames per second, which is absolutely unacceptable for PC rigs that are capable of higher FPS. And then you have some kind of weird dynamic resolution problem where when you turn the game on in 4K, it actually downscales the game and then upscales it to 4K instead of booting into 4K immediately. Yeah, apparently it's filled with several issues like this, and that's the thing. I mean, I get that Guerrilla Games hasn't really ported a game to PC before, but Death Stranding literally just released on PC a few weeks ago. Now that game is running the exact same engine as Horizon Zero Dawn, so we know the engine works well on PC. Actually, Death Stranding runs phenomenally well on PC, and I can say that for myself because I do own that game on PC, and it really does run incredibly well on PC. So you would think that Horizon Zero Dawn would as well. So this doesn't sound like an engine problem where it's not compatible with PCs or anything like that, but rather, it just sounds like a bad port job. Now hopefully they do get this fixed up soon because it is a really good game, and if they get it running how it's supposed to, then this will look absolutely amazing on PC. I will ask you though, if you bought Horizon Zero Dawn on PC, have you been running into any kind of technical issues? Let me know in the comments below. Now that wasn't the only news coming from Sony, because they also put out a new State of Play yesterday, which focused on third-party content and some smaller independent games. It wasn't exactly the biggest event in the world, but I do think that there was some exciting stuff here, so we're going to go over some of the better announcements made there real quick. And one of these is actually pretty big. So they did announce a Braid anniversary, which was quite surprising. This is an old Xbox arcade game and really one of the first successful independent games, so to see it get an anniversary is pretty cool to see. It will be coming to both the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 in early 2021. They also showed an extended look at Crash 4, and seriously, if you want to talk about an amazing looking game, I think that this is really going to make Crash fans happy this holiday. They also showed Spelunky 2, Tim, and a couple VR games. Actually, Hitman 3 will be getting a VR edition, which if you're into VR games, then that should be very exciting. Hitman has generally been a great franchise, so to see a big franchise like that come to VR is pretty cool. On the other side, I mean, if we're talking about a game that's going to display violence, I mean, this game literally, you're assassinating people, so to do that in VR, I could see this sparking some debate, but I do think this is going to be a really good game. Now, they did show a couple of PlayStation 5 games as well, such as Bugsnax and Godfall, and really we got a long look at Godfall. Sony really seems to be pushing for this game as a launch title for the PlayStation 5, but so far it doesn't really seem like the community is in love with this game. I mean, I think it looks okay, but I'm not really into these type of games either. It reminds me of Destiny but with swords, but still I do think that it could end up being a good launch title if you do like those type of games. The big announcement though was actually a current generation game, and I'm super excited for this one. Alan Wake will be coming back through an expansion to Remedy's most recent game, Control. Now, I've actually covered this on the channel in the past, so this wasn't a major surprise, but this announcement nonetheless was huge for fans of Alan Wake. To this day, I think that Alan Wake was one of the best Xbox 360 exclusives, and I know there are several other Xbox fans that have been wanting to see this game get a sequel. And while this is not a direct sequel, it's still very exciting to see Alan Wake come back. That's not all though, because Remedy actually revealed that Remedy's games may share the same universe, so Alan Wake may not be the only crossover game to come from Remedy. I don't think Quantum Break can return because I'm pretty sure Xbox still owns that game, but it is cool to think that they all share the same universe. I mean, it's not like this is the only company that does that, and Brandon Sanderson, the writer, does do this with his books, but it's still cool to see. I am curious if we will get to play as Alan Wake in this expansion though. So far we haven't really got to see that, but the good news here is that we won't even have to wait that long. And this expansion will release on August 27th for the PlayStation 4, PC, and Xbox One. So mark your calendars because I certainly will. Overall though, this event by PlayStation was pretty solid. I know some fans were a little disappointed because they wanted some bigger games to be announced here, but I liked what I saw there. Some nice, fun games to look forward to. Moving on though, let's talk about Xbox, and this has been a very interesting story to follow. So yesterday we talked about how Xbox has run into a bit of a problem, as it sounds like Apple has blocked Microsoft from putting xCloud and Xbox Game Pass on iOS devices. Well, this has now been confirmed because Apple wants Xbox to submit each individual game on Xbox Game Pass for review before allowing Xbox Game Pass on iOS devices. Which seems kind of odd because I'm pretty sure they don't do that with movies, music, books, or shows, so why just gaming? Well, now Xbox called Apple out here for their terrible anti-consumer policies, and this is what they had to say. Apple stands alone as the only general-purpose platform to deny consumers from cloud gaming and game subscription services like Xbox Game Pass. It consistently treats gaming apps differently, applying more lenient rules to non-gaming apps even when they include interactive content. And there you have it. And they are absolutely right, and if we're really being honest here, this all comes down to money. Apple either wants a piece of the pie from Xbox Game Pass, or they're trying to keep competitors off of their devices because they have their own game subscription service, Apple Arcade. I just find this to be a lazy excuse for Apple to say that they are trying to provide a safe and trusted place for customers, and that's why they have these guidelines in place. Now, I do know that Valve had a similar issue with Apple when they first launched Steam Link on iOS devices, and Apple took that off of their store as well. So this has been going on for quite a while, but Who knows, maybe they will eventually come to some kind of an agreement to make this happen. For the time being though, unfortunately it does not look like xCloud and Xbox Game Pass will be available on Apple devices, and if you want to play Xbox Game Pass games on your phone, then you will have to invest in an Android device. That's not necessarily fair, but if you want that to change, I would recommend voicing your opinion to Apple themselves and have them change this decision. This is why Microsoft made this public statement, because it does put Apple in the hot seat. Obviously, Microsoft and Xbox wants Xbox Game Pass on iOS devices, so this is entirely an Apple decision by this point. There is a petition about this very subject, but usually these petitions don't work very well. Creating a dialogue for that topic though can definitely help. Now we do have one last topic to go over here just real quick. Square Enix posted an update for Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it has now sold more than 5 million copies worldwide, and has become their best-selling digital game for the PlayStation 4. This is incredible news and very impressive for this highly anticipated remake, and that's the thing. This is only part 1 of the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it's only one platform so far. It has already been confirmed to be a timed exclusive and should be releasing on both the Xbox and PC next year, so these numbers are going to improve drastically when they come to other platforms. I will say this though, Square Enix, please stop with the timed exclusive stuff. You can make more money by releasing these games as multi-platform right out of the gate, because that's when the game community is really buzzing about a game, when they're brand new. Nonetheless, big congrats to Square Enix on their success launch for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to hit the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you would like to support the channel on Patreon, thank you for helping make this content possible. Peace out.